Welcome to episode 29 of Out of Bounds, a podcast where I give my social commentary on different topics in today's society. I'm your host, Terry, and today talking about the baby mama Mother's Day debate, which makes me laugh. But this is basically a debate that I've heard before. It has resurfaced as Mother's Day has passed, but basically asking the question that if a man has a child with a woman that he's no longer involved with, is it okay or is it appropriate, is it right for him to buy her Mother's Day gift if he's in a new relationship or she's in a new relationship or whatever? And so for me, yes, absolutely is perfectly fine. And I'm going to just give my 3 reasons why. So, number one, Mother's Day is about motherhood. It's not about, relationships. It's not about giving gifts to somebody that you, might be romantically interested in. It's not giving, a gift to somebody you have a crush on, somebody you want to get back with. It's not giving a gift to the person that you like more than your current girlfriend. No, it's about motherhood. Mother's Day is celebrating those mothers who are actually doing their job of being a parent. And so, there's a lot of different pushbacks on this. And I would say a lot of them fall into this category of talking about, feelings and relationships and whatnot that have nothing to do with the intention of Mother's Day. Because I celebrate someone's motherhood who happens to be the mother of my child, that does not in any way have to do with anything outside of that. So we're talking about mother. She's a mother. Whether you're a mother or not, it doesn't matter. If you are, we celebrate you. If you're not, we're celebrating her because she's a mother. It's just not, that day is not about you. And so that's the first reason, an obvious reason, I would hope. Number 2, the connection between those two people is not about the romance or the feelings. It's about the child. The responsibility is to the child as parents. And so back again to this idea that, hey, maybe you might still like her. Maybe, they sneaking around on the side. You shouldn't have all that connect. No, this goes to the child. At the end of the day, for whether you two hate each other, you two are best friends, you two are cordial, whatever, you owe it to the child to create a stable environment. As I always say, we come into this world knowing nothing, and we learn from what we see. If you think that a child growing up isn't going to pick up and internalize how their father is treating other people, specifically his mother, or their mother, you gotta be crazy. That is child development 101. And so not only do you owe it to the child to show people how, or show the child how to respect other people, but then you also have to understand that that environment the child lives in, if you split custody or whatever, the child has to live in that environment with that mother. And respecting and not creating a more of a rift is your responsibility, because that's the life the kid has to live with. And so if you constantly provoking her or, you're not supporting her, then that child has to live with that. And so your responsibility as a good parent is to the child. And that's what this is all about, a respect of the duty and responsibility that you both created. She didn't make a baby by herself and you didn't make one by yourself either. That responsibility is now to that child. It's not about the connection between the two. And so the third reason that I would say it's okay for people or and I guess in this case for guys to give Mother's Day present to their baby mamas would be that relationships isn't about gifts. If you are basing your relationship and the worth of it or whatever on the value of the gifts that's given, then you don't have a healthy relationship to begin with. And so for all these people saying that look, you could put the gift in the child's name. That's appropriate. Or you could buy a gift for the child to give to their mother. Look, it don't matter. You bought it. It don't matter whose name you put on it. It don't matter who presents it to her. You bought the gift. You helped pick it out. You paid for it. You wanted to give it. So that is some deep psychological issues right there. If I was a guy, or if I'm talking to a guy, I would say that's a red flag. If a girl tells you that it's okay, or anybody tells you that it's okay for you to buy the gift, but then put it in the child's name and let the child present it, and now it's perfectly fine. But if you present it or put your name on it, now it's a big deal. That person has some maturing to do. And they got some psychological issues to work out with, because that right there is just deflecting and justifying in your own mind something that makes no sense. Because at the end of the day, you got the gift. And so no, letting the child get the gift doesn't change anything. But also on top of that, why should it change anything? If you are basing the value on how your partner feels about you on gifts, that's a weak relationship. And so if we're talking about exclusivity, I understand that yes, to traditional people, a lot of times your relationship is about getting something from your partner that is not given to other people. It's a special love reserved just for you. But that isn't a material thing. That doesn't come from material and the value of material. I mean, I understand, okay, if he bought his baby mama a house and y'all living in a shack, yes, those are extreme circumstances. But for the most part, if you're valuing off, well, you bought your mother something that costs more than what you bought me, so you don't love me as much, then you own a weak relationship, man, a weak foundation. If you're basing your love or your partner's love off the dollars that they spend on you, I can't agree that is a healthy way to approach relationships. So that whole thing about the idea of giving somebody a gift and you're not giving me a gift, or their gift's more expensive than mine or more thoughtful than mine, and it shows what you pay attention to or willing to spend on, that's not always true. And I get that might be a feeling. That's a natural feeling. At the end of the day, all of this is natural feelings. I could understand that, but just because it's a natural feeling doesn't mean it gets to control the way you act. You can have a natural feeling to think, wow, okay, you spent a little more time on that gift than you did on mine. That's a conversation you can have and work through as adults. That's not something to flame up over and shut the whole thing down over. But what you want to look at in a relationship to actually see the value, where they're spending their time with you. What do they give you that they aren't giving others? Okay, they buy different people gifts with their money, okay, but what are you receiving that other people aren't receiving? If you're just going to focus on where the pocketbook is, then I don't know. I don't think that's healthy. So that's just me personally. So those are 3 reasons why I would say it's perfectly fine to go ahead and buy a gift for a baby mother, a baby father, baby daddy. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. I mean, it is the same thing, but I'm pretty sure a lot more people don't trip over that, because there's a lot of people that don't get into that whole conversation about buying the father of their child a gift and all that. But at the end of the day, it's just egos, man. And if somebody's really tripping over it, like where it's a big fight, my advice would be get out that relationship. 100%. Not because you don't want to fight, but because anybody that is dealing with some maturity issues to where this type of stuff would offend them on that level, and they can't, reasonably work through it with you, then they're not going to be good for the long haul anyway. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Is it okay for baby moms to get a gift? Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and until next episode.